You have been lied to since the day you were born. You were told that if you were polite, the world would be kind to you. You were taught that if you made yourself small, soft, and agreeable, you would be safe. You were trained to believe that nice is a virtue and that accommodating is a strength. But look around you. Look at your life right now. Who gets the promotion? The one who asked for permission or the one who took the lead? Who gets the respect? The one who smiled and agreed or the one who said no without flinching? Here is the brutal reality that your parents, your teachers, and society were too afraid to tell you. Politeness is often just a socially acceptable word for submission. When you are overly polite, you are not being good. You are signaling to every predator, every manipulator, and every competitor in the room that you are prey. You are broadcasting loudly that your needs are secondary, your time is cheap, and your boundaries are negotiable. You think you are keeping the peace. In reality, you are destroying your reputation, you are eroding your authority, and you are training people subconsciously to treat you like a doormat. If you have ever felt ignored, talked over, or undervalued, it is not because you aren't talented. It is because your behavior is betraying you. What we are about to dismantle are 7 specific habits. Tiny, microscopic behaviors that you do every single day without thinking. You do them in emails. You do them in meetings. You do them when you order coffee. You think these habits make you look professional. You think they make you look like a team player. They don't. They are destroying your reputation faster than any scandal ever could. They are draining your status, leak by leak, until there is nothing left but a shell that people feel comfortable ignoring. If you can eliminate just 3 of these habits, the way people look at you will change overnight. They won't know why. They won't be able to put a finger on it, but they will feel a shift in the air pressure when you walk into the room. But be warned, this is not about becoming a jerk. This is not about becoming a villain. It is about something far more dangerous. It is about becoming real. And for a society addicted to fake pleasantries, nothing is more terrifying than a person who no longer feels the need to pretend. Let's begin the surgery. Habit 1. The apology reflex. If someone bumps into you on the street, what is the first word out of your mouth? Sorry. If the waiter brings you the wrong order and you have to send it back, how do you start that sentence? Sorry, but if you need to ask a question in a meeting, do you say, sorry to interrupt? Stop it. You are bleeding power. You think you are being polite. You think you are diffusing tension. But what you are actually doing is broadcasting a signal of total inferiority. In the animal kingdom, when a wolf exposes its throat to the pack leader, it is an act of survival. It is saying, I am no threat, do not hurt me. When you apologize for things that are not your fault, for existing, for taking up time, for requiring space, you are exposing your throat. You are training the world to view you as a burden. Think about the economics of language. An apology is an admission of guilt. It is a debt you pay to balance the scales of social interaction. But if you apologize when you are not guilty, you are paying a debt you do not owe. And inflation hits your reputation hard. If you are sorry for the rain, sorry for the traffic, and sorry for asking a question, your sorry loses all value. So when you actually make a mistake, a real consequential error, and you apologize, it means nothing. You have already spent your apology budget on someone stepping on your toe. This behavior stems from a deep-seated fear of conflict. It is a fawn response. You are trying to preemptively smooth over any potential aggression from the other person by lowering your own status. But here is the dark psychological reality. People do not respect those who lower themselves. They despise them. There is a concept in psychology called dominance complementarity. If you act submissive, the other person's brain is wired to instinctively act dominant. By apologizing, you are forcing the other person to look down on you. You are handing them the whip, the fix. Flip the script. Do not apologize for a negative. Thank them for a positive. Instead of saying, sorry I'm late, say, thank you for your patience. Do you feel the difference? "Sorry I'm late" frames you as a failure who needs forgiveness. "Thank you for your patience" frames you as a person of value worth waiting for, and it frames them as a generous person for waiting. It is a power move wrapped in gratitude. Instead of saying, "Sorry to bother you," say, "Thank you for making time." Stop apologizing for taking up oxygen. The only time you should say sorry is when you have actually harmed someone. For everything else, silence is better than submission. Habit 2. The submission smile. Here is a scenario. Your boss is criticizing you unfairly, or a client is making a rude, out-of-line comment, or someone is cutting you in line. You feel the anger rising in your chest. You feel the injustice. But what is your face doing? You are smiling, a tight, nervous, plastic smile. This is the #1 killer of reputation, and you are likely doing it subconsciously. Why do we smile when we are uncomfortable? Why do we grin when we are being disrespected? It is the fawn response again. In evolutionary psychology, this is a defense mechanism, primate baring their teeth. When a chimp is terrified of a larger male, it pulls its lips back to show its teeth. It's a grimace of fear. It signals, "I am harmless, I am friendly, please don't kill me." When you smile while being insulted, you are signaling to the aggressor's reptile brain that you accept their dominance. You are telling them that their bad behavior is acceptable. You are rewarding them for hurting you. Think about how twisted that is. You are training people to treat you poorly by rewarding them with a smile every time they do it. It creates a cognitive dissonance in the viewer. They see your eyes, which are fearful or angry, and your mouth, which is smiling. This makes you look untrustworthy. It makes you look weak. A leader's face matches the situation. Congruence is power. If the situation is serious, your face should be serious. If the situation is disrespectful, your face should be cold. The fix: you must reclaim your face. The next time someone is rude to you or says something out of line, do not smile. Do not get angry. Anger is a reaction, and reaction is weakness. Do the deadpan stare. Relax your facial muscles. Look them directly in the eyes. And do nothing. Say nothing. Let the silence stretch out. By removing the emotional reaction, you force the other person to sit in the uncomfortable silence of their own rudeness. You mirror their aggression with a void. You will see them squirm. They will stutter. They will try to fill the silence because they realize their attack didn't land. They expected a nervous smile. You gave them a stone wall. That is the moment the power dynamic shifts. Stop smiling when you aren't happy. It confuses your allies and emboldens your enemies. Habit 3. The oversharing justification. Jade. You have been asked to do a favor you don't want to do, or you missed a deadline, or you are declining an invitation. You say no, but you don't stop there. You launch into a monologue. "I can't come because my cat is sick, and then my car broke down, and honestly, I've just been so overwhelmed lately with this project." You are vomiting words. You are over-explaining. In the world of dark psychology, this is known as the JADE technique. Justify, argue, defend, explain. It is a trauma response. It usually comes from a childhood where no wasn't enough. You had to provide a lawyer-level defense just to have a boundary. But in the adult world of reputation and power, over-explanation is a death sentence. Why? Because he who speaks less wins. When you give someone a list of reasons why you can't do something, you are not being polite. You are handing them ammunition to debate you. If you say, "I can't help you move because I don't have a truck," they will say, "Oh, I rented one." Now you are trapped. If you say, "I can't meet because I'm busy Tuesday," they will say, "How about Wednesday?" You have turned a decision into a negotiation. More importantly, over-explaining signals guilt. It signals that you do not believe you have the right to say no. You are asking for their permission to have a boundary. You are submitting your evidence to the jury and hoping they find you innocent. High-status individuals do not do this. A CEO does not write a 3-page essay on why they are declining a meeting. They just decline. No is a complete sentence. That doesn't work for me is a complete thought. The fix. Practice the executive no. Give the refusal, and at most, one vague reason. I can't make it. I have a prior commitment. My schedule is full. And then, this is the hardest part. Stop talking. Do not fill the silence that follows. That silence is where your dignity lives. If you feel the urge to explain, recognize it for what it is. Anxiety. It is your inner child, terrified of rejection. Soothe the child, but let the adult speak. Your reasons are for you. They are not for the jury. Stop acting like you are on trial for living your own life. Habit 4. The does that make sense? Trap. You just finished explaining a complex idea. You laid out your plan, you gave your instructions, and then you drop the bomb that destroys everything you just said. Does that make sense? You think you are being considerate. You think you are checking for understanding. You aren't. You are insulting yourself, and you are insulting your listener. Let's break down the subtext of this phrase. Subtext A. I am a terrible communicator who cannot string a coherent sentence together, so I need to check if you understood my gibberish. Subtext B. I think you are stupid and might not have the cognitive capacity to grasp my basic concepts. It is a lose-lose situation wrapped in a polite question. Psychologists call this assurance seeking. It is a verbal tick that reveals deep insecurity. You are not asking if the content makes sense. You are asking if you are making sense. You are begging for validation. Imagine a pilot coming over the intercom. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to experience some turbulence, and I'm going to take us to a higher altitude. Does that make sense? You would be terrified. You would grip the armrests and pray. Why? Because a leader assumes clarity. A leader knows what they are saying is coherent because they know what they are talking about. When you ask, does that make sense? You instantly lower your status relative to the listener. You place them in the position of the judge who gets to decide if your words have value. The fix. Delete that phrase from your vocabulary immediately. Assume you made sense. If you genuinely need to check that the other person is following, flip the dynamic from seeking validation to inviting collaboration. Instead of, does that make sense? Ask, what are your thoughts? How does that sound to you? Do you have any questions? See the difference. Does that make sense? Asks, am I okay? What are your thoughts? Asks, are you with me? It keeps you in the driver's seat. It treats the other person as a peer, not a confused student. And it treats you as an authority, not a nervous amateur. Trust your voice. If they didn't understand, let them take the responsibility to ask. Habit 5. The yes addiction. Pathological agreeableness. We live in a culture that glorifies the yes man, the person who is always available, always down, always ready to help. You think being the go-to person makes you indispensable. Actually, it makes you invisible. It is basic economics, supply and demand. If the supply of your time is infinite, if you say yes to every coffee chat, every extra project, every favor, the value of your time drops to zero. Scarcity creates value. Gold is valuable because it is rare. Air is vital, but it is free because it is everywhere. You have become air. Necessary perhaps, but taken completely for granted. Psychologists call this pathological agreeableness. It stems from a fear of abandonment. You believe that if you say no, people will stop liking you. You believe your utility is the only reason people keep you around. So you become a resource to be mined. And the dark reality is that this breeds hidden resentment. You say yes with your mouth, but your soul screams no. That cognitive dissonance rots you from the inside out. You become bitter, you become passive-aggressive, and people can smell that fake enthusiasm from miles away. Even worse, humans respect boundaries more than they respect compliance. Think about the people you respect most. Are they the ones who bend over backward for everyone, or are they the ones who have a clear mission and protect their time fiercely? The person who says, I can't do that right now, I'm focused on X, is viewed as a high-value professional with priorities. The person who says sure to everything is viewed as a pushover with no direction. You teach people how to treat you. If you never say no, you are teaching them that your needs do not exist. You are teaching them that you are an NPC, non-player character, in their video game, just waiting around to facilitate their quest. The fix: you must manufacture scarcity. Even if you are free, do not always be available. Pause before you agree. Check your internal compass. Let me check my schedule and get back to you. That phrase alone buys you power. It signals that your time is accounted for, that your life has structure. Start saying no to the small things so you have the energy to say yes to the big things. Stop setting yourself on fire just to keep other people warm. They won't mourn your ashes, they'll just look for another log to burn. Habit 6. The just virus, linguistic castration. Let's look at your inbox. Let's look at your text messages. Search for the word just. I just wanted to check in. I just have a little question. I'm just following up. This tiny 4-letter word is the most destructive virus in the English language. It is the verbal equivalent of walking into a room with a "kick me" sign taped to your forehead. Why do we use it? We use it to soften the blow. We use it to make ourselves smaller so we don't appear aggressive. I just wanted to ask translates psychologically to, I know my existence is an annoyance to you, so I'm going to minimize my request to the absolute microscopic level so you don't get mad at me. This is what linguists call hedging. It is a protective shield used by people who are terrified of their own authority. But here is the irony. When you use qualifiers like just, sort of, kind of, or maybe, you signal to the listener's primal brain that you do not believe in what you are saying. And if you don't believe it, why should they? If a surgeon walked in before your operation and said, I'm just going to sort of try to fix your heart today, you would run. You want a surgeon who says, I am going to fix your heart. Certainty is safety. Ambiguity is danger. When you hedge, you are not being polite. You are being unsafe. You are making the people around you anxious because they can't feel your backbone. Psychologically, humans naturally value confidence over competence. It is a nasty cognitive bias, but it is real. When you minimize your speech, people subconsciously assume your value is minimal too. You are framing your request as a burden before they even hear it. The fix: go on a just detox. For the next 7 days, delete the word just from every email and text before you hit send. It will feel aggressive. It will feel rude. You will type, I'm checking in on the report, and your brain will scream, too harsh, add a just. Resist that scream. I am checking in on the report. It is not rude. It is clear. I have a question. It is not demanding. It is a statement of fact. Leaders do not just want a moment. They take it because they know they matter. Stop apologizing for your own intent. Habit 7. The self-roast ritual. This is the final nail in the coffin, and it is the one you think makes you charming. You make fun of yourself. Oh, I'm such a disaster today. I'm terrible at math, don't ask me. I'm a total mess. You think self-deprecation makes you sound humble. You think it makes you relatable, approachable, one of the guys. Wrong. It makes you look like a liability. There are 2 dark psychological mechanisms at play here. First is confirmation bias. The human brain is lazy. It doesn't want to do the hard work of evaluating you from scratch every day. It looks for shortcuts. When you tell people, I am disorganized, you are giving them the label to slap onto your file. Once you label yourself, the people around you subconsciously start filtering your actions to match that label. If you drop a pen, they think, see, he said he was a disaster. If you do something great, they ignore it because it doesn't fit the label. You are actively marketing your own incompetence. Stop doing the opposition's research for them. The second mechanism is forced emotional labor. This is the part that is actually rude. When you insult yourself, I look so ugly today, you force the listener into an awkward social contract. Social norms dictate that they have to disagree with you. They have to say, "No, no, you look great." You aren't being modest. You are fishing for validation. You are trapping your friends and colleagues in a script where they have to perform unpaid emotional labor to fix your insecurity. It is exhausting to be around someone who constantly trashes themselves. Eventually, they will stop arguing with you. Eventually, when you say, "I'm a mess," they will just nod, and that is the day your reputation dies. The fix: kill the self-roast. If you make a mistake, own it, fix it, and move on. Do not turn it into a character trait. "I made an error on the spreadsheet. Here is the corrected version." Not, "I'm so stupid I always mess up numbers." Separate the behavior from the identity. And if you want to be humble by highlighting others, not by debasing yourself. True humility is not thinking less of yourself, it is thinking of yourself less. So, why do we do this? Why do we apologize, smile, hedge, and roast ourselves into oblivion? Because we are terrified of our own shadow. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist, taught that every human being has a shadow, the part of the psyche that contains our aggression, our power, our selfishness, and our capacity for danger. From a young age, you were taught that your shadow was bad. You were taught that anger is bad, that selfishness is bad, that disagreement is bad. So you repressed it. You cut off 50% of your psyche and locked it in the basement. You became the nice person. But here is the profound, uncomfortable truth that no self-help book will tell you. You cannot be a good person if you are not capable of being a dangerous person. If you are harmless, if you are incapable of saying no, incapable of conflict, incapable of defending yourself, you are not virtuous. You are just weak. A rabbit is not virtuous because it doesn't eat the wolf. It can't eat the wolf. True virtue, true power, comes from having the capacity for mayhem, the capacity for aggression, the capacity to be rude if necessary, and then keeping that power under voluntary control. That is what it means to be a gentleman or a gentlewoman. You have to have the power to be gentle with. Otherwise, you are not gentle. You are just broken. The habits we discussed today, the smiling, the apologizing, the self-deprecation, these are the behaviors of a person who has rejected their own shadow. You are trying to prove to the world, "Look, I am harmless, I am nice, please love me." And the world looks at you with contempt. Because the world knows that a person who cannot protect themselves cannot protect anyone else. When you stop these habits, you are not becoming a villain. You are integrating your shadow. You are showing your teeth, just for a second, not to bite, but to smile. And in that flash of teeth, people see that you are whole. They see that you have boundaries. They see that you respect yourself. And because you respect yourself, they will respect you. This is not an overnight fix. Tomorrow, you will urge to apologize. You will urge to say, "just." You will urge to smile when you are angry. It is a biological addiction to submission. But now you have the red pill. Now you can see the code. Every time you catch yourself doing it, you have a choice. Do you want to be the prey? Or do you want to be the architect of your own reality? The next time you walk into a room, try it. Hold the eye contact a second longer. Drop the just. Accept the compliment with a simple, "Thank you." Feel the tension in the air. That tension. That is not something to fear. That tension is the weight of your new reputation settling into place. Welcome to the other side. If this opened your eyes, understand, this is only what I can show publicly. There are videos I cannot upload for everyone. There are aspects of dark psychology that I simply cannot discuss publicly on YouTube without being censored or demonetized. The algorithm suppresses the most powerful information. Those exist behind the join button. If you're still here, you're not like the others. Subscribe if you haven't. But if you want what's hidden, click the join button and step into the architect level. You will unlock exclusive, uncensored videos that dive into the deepest parts of the human psyche. Most won't. That's the point.